These are some Dinar Guru updates. Starting off with Mark Z via PDK, we have some key things happening in Iraq. The World Bank is ready to support economic reforms in Iraq. This is one important. This one is important and it goes along with a couple things we have seen. What are part of the reforms? A different value. Right, Samson article quote, central bank governor, the value of the dinar is stable. We are in the process of raising Iraq from the high-risk countries. Another quote, the bank is in the process of raising Iraq from high-risk countries according to the European Union classification, pointing to maintaining the stability of the value of the dinar significantly. Frank 26, Firefly, the CBI governor is on the news saying all is well and Iraq has new plans and meeting with the European Union went very good. Frank says all the telltale signs are there. You can read the writing on the wall, notice how they focus on reforms and they ignore the political nonsense. That's what the CBI governor just did. Mark Z via PDK, many more reports, tier 3, folks getting paid, but I still don't have somebody that I feel comfortable telling all you guys that 100% they have spendable money yet, but we are still getting multiple reports on that front. We continue to hear very positive things out of Iraq. Article quote, the governor of central bank discusses with the European Union the file of the Iraqi economy, unquote. Mark Z says we continue to see open negotiations with Iraq and many countries around the world about changing that rate value and economic reforms. We don't know the timing, but we are close on the precipice. Right, Pimpy's saying until this seated government mess gets cleared up, you're not going to see any real changes to the Iraqi dinar. I know people don't want to hear that. How are you going to change the value of the Iraqi dinar when you're too reliant on oil to provide 95% of your government budget? That hasn't changed. They were well on their way of starting to build the private and public sectors until this mess happened. Now you can't get a budget, you haven't formed a government, you're on the brink of civil war. Although Iraq is benefiting from high oil prices, they continue to increase their federal reserves at the same time, increasing their gold holdings, which are both very good again. You still have major obstacles right here in your way, the government. I know this is a rough ride, but it will end one way or the other. Sandy Ingram article quote, governor of the central bank, the value of the dinar is stable. We are in the process or raising Iraq from high-risk countries. This story was on the front page of a major news portal in Iraq. The bank is in the process of raising Iraq from high-risk countries according to the classification or the European Union. I'm not sure what that statement means, but it looks like Iraq is sending a message everything is okay. Caparoni is saying if the Iraqi dinar is ever going to go up in value, it's going to take a lot of work for Iraq. The formation of a government, passing of laws through parliament, and encouragement of investment in order to diversify their economy away from oil. Mark Z via PDK Nader said European banks are about to begin receiving and exchanging the dinar. When will the U.S. start? Referencing his post, Mark Z is saying, remember, this does not mean the value has changed yet, just that these banks that previously would not deal with the Iraqi dinar at all now will, which means the dinar is still at the same value it is today, waiting on the rate to change. But they are accepting it is now a huge process, but does not mean they are exchanging in Europe for a higher value yet. They have to be able to accept and exchange it when the time comes, so it's still good news. All right, Breitling says you've got to get it out of your head that there's a group in Iraq somewhere that doesn't want them to revalue their currency. Which countries would not want Iraq to get into the SWIFT system? That would be Russia and China. So if there's any negative news, I haven't seen any of it. The dinar crowd is so small, Russia and China hasn't put any effort or money into degrading Iraq's chances. Nader from the Mideast, next week they'll come out and say, hey, the reserve, it's at 90 to 95 billion now. Be ready for that too. The gold is going to go up by next week too. And lastly, Frank 26 article quote, Barzani's party reveals an international move to stop the possible armed conflict after the 40. Who told you about the 17th? Is there anybody that talks about the 17th? No. Frank 26 boots on the ground contract reported last week that Satter warned if Parliament was not dissolved by the 17th, it would be doomsday. And that was back referencing a post back on September 9th. Frank says, I don't think we're going to have the conflict that we're looking for in the 17th going into the 18th.